Order up.
Welcome to Overproof. My name is Sarah Mars, and guys, when I tell you that I just had the best week of my life over in Sydney, I truly mean it. My husband and I were invited over to Sydney to take part in the Maybe Cocktail Festival, and it was insane. I have never been surrounded by a group of more driven, more humble, more friendly, more positive, more sleep-deprived people. It was amazing. We got to take bartenders over there. I also got to bring over Overproof to do 3 roundtable discussions with some of the biggest names of the industry, people that I have known about since I was 18 years old, and that was a while ago. First up in our roundtable discussions, I am excited to announce that I have Sebastian Tollius from 11 Madison Park and the new bar that they have opened called Clemente. He is the beverage director and is doing some really cool stuff with koji and fermentation. Next up, we have Happy. Yep, just one name. Happy is the beverage director at Conrad Singapore Orchid. And if you are not familiar with that name, you might be familiar with the name Manhattan Bar. They have 6 or 7 bars as part of the group, and he's the beverage director across a lot of them. And then third up, we have Evica from Mirror Bar, all the way from Bratislava. Evica has worked her way up from being a barback for 3 years to senior bartender in Mirror. It's really impressive to see someone stay with one venue and work their way all the way from baby barback up to being senior bartender, and then be able to travel the world with that bar as well is super inspiring. So I absolutely love this conversation, and I have talked way too much already, so that's enough from me. Without further ado, let's jump in. So welcome to Overproof, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. What we're going to do to start is just go around the table. If you guys can introduce yourself, say what you do. If your role, maybe just yourself, is not super self-explanatory, describe what that role entails. And then as our icebreaker question, I want you to let me know which city has delivered you the most legendary hangover.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right. Should we start with you?
Yeah, let's go. My name is Sebastian Tollius. I'm the beverage director at 11 Madison Park and Clemente Bar in New York City. And now for the hardest hangover. Man, there's been a few, but it's going to be Vegas.
Yeah?
It has to be Vegas. Yeah.
Do we get any story time?
I mean, hangovers are pretty rough. So it was like I was face down in a pint of water like all day. It was not good, but that's typical Vegas. If not, close seconds for sure is New Orleans.
Yeah.
If anybody has done the good old tales.
Yeah. Are you going? You're going this year?
I should be going this year.
Well, I'll see you there for the hangover, man.
My name's Happy. I'm the beverage director for the Conrad Hotel at the Conrad Singapore Orchid. That includes like Manhattan, Summer Palace, Basilico. So we have 6 or 7 venues in there that are very different styles. And I work with all the beverage, all the leaders in the beverage team to help kind of like train them up, improve them, work on commercial stuff like that. Biggest hangover or worst hangover? There's a lot. I don't know, like running around Mexico the old days, like finding small places in Puebla or Oaxaca and just completely forgetting to have bought water.
Oh,
yeah. And it's just like that. I mean, there's always a 7-Eleven somewhere or like the equivalent of Little America Dinner, but that would be my and having to drive out of those little towns afterwards. Big times.
You got the Pedialyte in Mexico though, which was life-saving.
Oh man,
the electrolytes.
They're so tasty.
Oh, and next up,
I'm Evica. I'm from Mirror Bar. I work as a senior bartender, and I'm there. This is my 8th year, and I'm actually from Serbia. So I live in Slovakia 8 years, and this is the first and so far my last job since I moved in. And the worst hangover, it was Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of caipirinhas.
Yeah.
A lot of sugar.
We drank all of them. Yeah.
All right. We're going to jump straight into the deep questions. We'll start with Happy, and we'll talk about the Burnt Chef project a little bit.
For sure.
Why? Is there any specific reason that you got involved with them in the first place?
Strong chat straight off the bat.
Yeah.
I lost too many people is the honest answer. So Burnt Chef project was started in the UK by a guy called Chris Hall specifically to talk about the stigma about mental health and hospitality and really open up those conversations. And now we've grown to many different markets, many different countries. I am relatively new, under a year, working for the project. I believe I'm definitely the first ambassador in Southeast Asia, which is where I'm based in Singapore, and I was in Indonesia before this. And I think I'm still the only front of house ambassador at the moment, but I've had more bartenders reaching out. We're in a progress stage of like expanding that and trying to get more front of house involvement. It's a really big push for what we're doing at the moment. To answer your question, why it's important is honestly, I've lost too many people in over a couple of different jobs, and it just really sucks.
Yeah. And so what is the Burnt Chef project doing to combat that?
So a lot of it is about awareness, obviously. And so making sure that we're having the conversations and that we are a picture of that conversation so we can enable other people to have it and make sure there's support. We do advocacy on that side. There's a lot of charity and fundraising. We have a EAP, which is allows businesses that participate and sign up and pay the money. They also then, all their team get 24-hour counseling on the phone. So if there's ever anything that they need or anything they want, they can always call up. And the idea is to make that available to all over the globe. But also then we have an online academy where you can do self-taught learnings and go through, which is really, really well engineered. I did years ago, after one of the first big losses, I did a mental health first aid course and went through, and that was available here in Sydney, and went through like not just seeing the signs, but also how to adapt, how to help people after the fact or even before. Because I don't know how to say this politically correctly, but like people make their own decisions and you have to accept that. But having that conversation and enabling somebody to then make hopefully an easier decision in their life is something that's really important.
That's amazing. And for yourself, is there any practices that you've put into place to look after your mental health and well-being?
I'm very open and honest about it. And that has gone through various stages of making sure I address it vocally. And so I've always made the decision to never hide from it where possible or where I have control over that. I make sure I exercise. And a lot of it might sound like a broken record in that way, that like sleep better, drink less, things like that. But I really am a true believer of like, you're still going to be you. Like you can't tell a bartender not to drink. I'm sorry, that's like a waste of time. And so you shouldn't practice abstinence if it's not realistic, but you should find your limits and have those conversations, be honest with your friends and everything else. So if you're not feeling it that day, don't be a dickhead and try and make somebody else stay out even longer. Like just, you be supportive. And there was definitely there is a culture when I was growing up that was like, come on, mate, let's just one more, just 100%. And sometimes I still got it. Like I'm not pretending I don't, but it's about like having that ability to say to my mate, like, I'm done today. You guys do you. And that not having an issue as well. So I think that's really important. Exercise is for sure really, really big for me. It really does clear my head. And I scuba dive a lot. And you may or may not have worked this out. I don't really shut up. So when I'm scuba diving, it's like that's actually kind of my piece.
There is something so meditative about scuba diving because nobody can, you can't talk to anyone. It's just like,
and it's like I find I have to be really honest, and so I really like in that space I keep myself underneath. And I was talking to some friends of mine that when I did a presentation about Burnt Chef at BCB in Singapore this year, because there was a conversation about breath work as well, and how that can affect and change. And it's different versions of, I guess, meditation in your own right. Like whatever works for you, as long as you're committing to do it for the right reasons and processing through, I think that's a really big thing.
I'm excited to try breath work. I've never tried it.
I struggle to sit still, but it's doing better at it. I've learned through a lot of my diving stuff, I do it really well underwater. It's just doing it now that I'm going to work on.
That's cool. And for you guys, second to that, anything that you guys do specifically to look after your health and well-being? Because obviously working in a bar is not ideal hours. You don't have circadian rhythm. You're obviously around alcohol and drugs and depending on the type of bar, maybe not for you guys so much, but like the party lifestyle and all of that. Is there anything that you guys do to look after yourself that's any different?
I think the exercise is like really, really good thing. I just go to the gym. I have my trainer and just when somebody sets me up. Because if I would need to go alone, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
But when I have a trader, so I know that I need to go there, and it's just like helps me like stay focused, keep some rhythm going on.
Yeah.
I think it's trying to find some sort of schedule within your life. I mean, I know, we sometimes have later nights and earlier mornings. My schedule has kind of opened up in terms of starting earlier and sometimes leaving a little bit earlier, but it's important to figure out that sleep schedule and at least try to sleep as much as possible. I mean, if you can get more than 6 hours, that's a dream, but
Anyone get more than 6 hours last night?
I'm not having this conversation.
you did pretty well.
I feel better than I should.
Yeah. But no, exercise is super important for sure. But I think it's really, I mean, I've been working in this industry for so long, and like you were saying in the beginning, you're going out, you're drinking, you're having a good time, you're having thousands of shots with your friends every night. And I think now it's just really like being able to not drink and make that decision. And I take long periods of time without drinking. It's like the best I ever feel. And it's almost hard to go back into that rhythm, because once you start drinking consistently, it's almost like you're just, you have foggy brain and you're tired all the time. You can't concentrate. So it's like getting out of these cycles. It's really important, but there's times that you just keep going out and have a good time. But if like controlling how much you drink is important. You don't have to finish every cocktail. And I think that's what I've learned the most, especially in events like this.
Tactfully leave it.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
You give it a taste, put it down. And I think that's actually the thing I've learned the most over the last couple of years, of just really like tasting and going out to multiple places and not feeling obligated to drink everything.
I've really enjoyed switching up, instead of doing shots of hard liquor, doing like maros and things, just so it's like that little bit easier.
Yeah.
Unless you get into like Fernet shots, and then you're feeling, then you feel terrible. That actually may be one of the worst hangovers I've had due to Fernet.
Oh yeah, well that would do it.
It's the sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sugar's real.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about your bar and what you're doing there, the ethos of your drinks list?
Yeah.
What you guys do, style of service?
I mean, we opened up the bar just about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
This was October last year, but this has been a project that I've been working on, with the restaurant for quite some time, in terms of what we wanted to visualize and conceptualize within the new space. And we're very inspired by a lot of things within 11 Madison Park, the Seasons, Miles Davis, like people that really kind of push our direction in terms of creative kind of aspect. But with the new concept, we worked with the artist Francesco Clemente, who's like renowned Italian artist, and like what could we really take from that perspective, like what is art and all these things. So we were trying to create a space, and what I really wanted to do with the space is create like a bar that felt like it belonged in New York. And I think that's really hard to do now, because there's so many concepts, so many bars within the city, but like how do you make something feel like timeless within the city? And that was really the whole goal, is to create a place of a sense of place. And with the program, we're really focused on keeping it like accessible and simple, but also really focusing on the technical aspect of the culinary cocktails in terms of sustainability and fermentation, and what we can do to actually create layered and complex cocktails without throwing all those things in your face. And I think we see a lot of like fermentation done in many bars as well. And, tried your drinks, which were fantastic. But I think there's a lot of like, there's supposed to be a reason or intention behind it. There shouldn't just be like, well, we decided to lacto ferment whatever because it sounds cool, but like, how can you actually intentionally do things to alter these esters and aromas and textures within these ingredients to create cocktails that are actually really tasty and balanced?
And where have you learned this? Just over time throughout different bars you've been working in?
Yeah, I mean, my bar journey really started, at like pubs, and I was 18 years old in college, and then I was bartending at nightclubs and all these things. So I never thought of this like as like those years were never formative at all. I just learned how to work volume and deal with drunk people. But, like this new look into how I wanted to create cocktail menus really came with 11 Madison Park, like being privy to the kitchen and to their techniques and to obviously their incredible minds of all these chefs, and to be able to almost like try to dissect cocktails in the same way that they dissect dishes was like the most eye-opening. Because I mean, having created menus 10 plus years ago, and I think my first cocktail ever on a menu was like a rosemary cucumber Hendrick's gimlet, and I thought it was the coolest thing. I even had like the cucumber with the rosemary sticking out of this. Was like 2010. And that, like back then, that was like, okay, that was super cool. And like now to what we were doing and what we started really working with in terms of our fermentation sous chef, and how we can really kind of take all these ingredients separately and bring them into like a cocktail. And we're going to taste today, actually, in a few hours.
So
I brought a few misos from New York.
You brought some
Once they
miso
got
over.
I did barely got in.
Australian government are not listening to this.
They checked me.
Did they?
They stopped me. Yeah. It was a story. We can get into it later.
Is there anything that has kept you up at night running a bar?
I mean, the opening was probably one of the hardest things I've done in a very long time. I mean, we started construction just about a year ago. We started construction in May, and then we were set to open in October. That's a pretty quick turnaround for a full demo renovation in New York City. And we were only working during the day because the restaurant was still operating at night. So, that timeline was really stressful, especially since once, July, August came, we started hiring, training, et cetera. But, all that work that led up to the opening night, you think that things are going to be easier from there. And it was the exact opposite. Like, having opened Clemente was super tough. I mean, we didn't realize how busy we were going to be, which is a great problem to have.
Yeah, totally.
But we had to redefine every single system like overnight. And how can we actually execute without burning out the team? Because that was my biggest worry. Like, I'm fine to be burnt out. I think it's actually great that we were talking about
Just
this.
get used to it.
I think at some point you do, but it's important that at the same time, like, I was making sure like I was trying to go to sleep earlier, really not drinking, even though during that stressful time, it's much easier to drink every day or whatever.
Just fall in.
Yeah,
sure.
I think also if you know that there's going to be an end to that super stressful time, it's not your permanent life forever.
Right.
Like, opening a bar is always going to be super
I was just like, in an open, you don't know when that stops, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, it's coming. Like, and then eventually it's just smooth.
Yeah.
There's never a set date.
How long do you reckon it took until you felt like it started to get smooth?
Honestly, I think that's like the last 2 months is where it started to really feel good. Like, we have an incredible team of bartenders and servers and management team, but everybody's like new, they're all figuring out this opening, and like we're working within this space that is also like new to everybody. And, the kitchen is renovated and everything. So it took a while for sure. I mean, there was a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of nights that I actually slept at work because it was just easier to, be done at 4 a.m. and sleep sleep in the liquor room.
Maybe. I definitely have.
And then just wake up and go right into it. So it's almost easier. But it's feeling really good now. I'm super excited to have the team like settle in and just, keep pushing. I think that's the biggest thing for everybody, to not feel comfortable and not like lose focus.
Totally.
And the focus is obviously the guest experience. And I think that's the biggest thing.
This could be a question for all of you guys, actually. Any little touches that you do for your guest experience that probably the guests aren't even aware of that leaves that extra special touch to your guests?
I mean, there's so much that we can do in terms of hospitality. And I think it's like, even from like the most minimal thing of remembering their name and welcoming them back by name and remembering their drink order. I don't know. I have a very good memory in that sense. Like, and then mostly just like for drinks, like I'll remember what people like in cocktails. And that's just, the thing. And they're like, hey, welcome back. It's so good to have you. Did you want to have another Negroni colada or whatever? And I think those small touches are great, but then how do you personalize the experience moving forward? And that's the biggest thing about hospitality. It's not about comping. And I think that's the biggest thing that I try to tell my team. It's never about comping to make it a better guest experience. It's really about just thinking outside of the box and personalizing each experience.
Yeah. This is actually my favorite thing when you do like small omakase for the guests. Mm-hmm. They sit on the bar and depends on their mood, how they're feeling, how they're looking. They just said, okay, you make me something. And it's just like in a moment made drink just for them. And it was just like, I have never made it before. I made it just for you. And 99% it works out really good.
Yeah, I think that's a really fun thing. You see a lot of like people like bartenders raging about like, what's your favorite thing on the menu or anything like that. It's like, I like giving the personal touch to it.
Yeah, but also like people sometimes like our menu is like 80 pages of everything.
It's a lot.
So sometimes they don't want to like to read anything. It's just, okay, give me the recommendation. They just take a look at the pictures and they say, okay, I'll give you what you make me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
We'll move around the table now. Is there anything about your like specific upbringing or where you're from that you bring to your hospitality at Mirror Bar now?
I think like Slovakian people, Slovakian culture, it's like pretty much open, and we're just like strong on hospitality, I would say, and we just like to be close with the people and to make it. I think this is also like that personalizing things for each other to see how and what mood we are. So like make that moment special and unforgettable, and people just they are coming back to you, not to drink.
I mean, we were talking about this a bit last night, but for you, being in hospitality, you've been with only one bar, right?
Yes.
Yeah. For 8 years, which is wild.
Actually, like Mirror Bar, like it's all like 6 years. We reopened 6 years ago. I was working in the old Mirror Bar, and it was like a London-style cigar bar, and people just came to take a glass of cognac to make some business. I mean, we were reading the books into the summer when the season was low and everything. So Peter and Stan, they came with a whole new concept of the classy art and nature. They took like overall the history of the Hotel Carlton. Peter brought his personal touch, which is like the nature, and this is why we have like a big tree. We have our own botanic who's taking care of our bonsai services and everything. And also we're working with a lot of local artists. There were like over 60 people working on the menu, making artistic services, glass makers, ceramic makers, wood makers, and so on. So yeah, they put me in a restaurant, and I was just looking, wow, this is so cool. So I came up to Peter and I said, I want to be a bartender. I was just like 19 years old. And I started the barbecing, let's say 2.5 years in the barback.
That's a rare thing these days that somebody starts as a barback.
Yes,
Thank
it
God.
was like
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah, and it was just like I started feeling. I was in the back. I was doing the dishes, and I was hearing the shake. I knew who was behind the bar, and it was just like to feel how the operation works, just to be the part of it and to be present and to listen, to be like a sponge. And yes, then I was like a junior bartender, started doing the trainings and everything, and so far I'm the senior bartender. Super happy there. My happy place.
And how long did it take you until you went from like first job working in hospitality, so now you're traveling over to different countries in the world? Like, how long did it take you to get from
my first job ever?
From barbacking, so from starting as a barback to being able to like travel overseas and have people coming in for guest shifts and feeling like you can see yourself, having a really cool career out of this.
It's like 3 years.
It's fast.
Yeah,
that's nice. And you guys?
Yeah.
I don't know.
My whole life.
Yeah, a little bit, but like not so much like for guest shifts. I think particularly when I was based in Sydney and Australia, kind of things have changed over the last few years, mostly for the better. But we didn't necessarily move around as much, and like because there's like you'd bounce between the cities, but not go international or anything. But also we kind of just did it ourselves. Like we'd go over spending time with Cantina in Mexico and trying to get around. It was more about exploring, I think, than brands taking us out. That's at least my memory of it.
That's a good point, actually, because like I think this world, and we were chatting about it yesterday quickly, it's the like new world of like bartenders traveling, like everything. Like this is what like the chefs were doing in the early 2000s. It's like kind of like coming now to the bar scene, which is great opportunity and super thankful for it. But like I was traveling on my own accord to like go to places and go to distilleries and, travel to Mexico or Scotland and like do those trips on my own to educate myself. And I think that was the most like fulfilling part of learning and growing into this industry. But with this recent world of traveling and bartending and guest shifts, which is, it's great for community building. It takes a while. I think, you gotta work towards getting to those places and building community and what are you actually bringing in terms of those experiences for people that actually are going to enjoy you going out or,
A hot topic at the moment. I mean, obviously everyone is here for guest shifts, but a hot topic at the moment is like whether people think guest shifts are worth it anymore because there's so many of them. What are your thoughts? Obviously, we're all here for them, so it's great for us. But
Exactly.
I think that's like a really important thing. I mean, I love guest shifts.
Yeah,
because it's. People think it's like they're not worth it because sometimes the guest bartenders just got drunk and just have fun and everything. But as we were starting doing the Mirror Hospitality Expo, we had like a lot of people coming in, and it was also about the networking, but also like learning about their cultures, like all about them, about what they bring from their bar, and then like doing the switches, and it's like I don't know. I love guest chefs. That's like the best thing. That's the best part of the industry, I would say.
I think for me, for the networking side of it, for sure. I think guys at bars that like go a little bit further, that take you through an experience when you're on a guest shift, and like Alchemico is famous for it, Smoke and Bitters in Sri Lanka is famous for it, where it's like you're not just rocking up to make a drink, you're going to actually learn about what they do and why they do it, as well as them celebrating something that you're bringing to them. But it also depends on what your program or what you like are really trying to showcase, whether it's votes, whether it's exposure, whether it's just a way to add revenue and add value to your regular guests. I think if you're honest about that side of it, whatever that may be, then you know what you're going for. So I think that I'm on the fence on that one. Like it can go either way, and they can be great, they can be not so great, to at least say it. But you've just got to be honest about what your venue needs out of it, most more than anything else. And as long as you're right and you're taking care of the people that are coming through, and it's not purely elitist, I'm down with that.
I have to say us too, because we're not in the world's 50 best. Like it's so cool to come over and meet everybody else who's doing amazing things, and to be included who is like from the end of the world down in New Zealand. For us, it's awesome. We get to meet like people that I did a comp with
2016, I think.
Too long ago. And then meet other people that we've seen on social media, and to meet everyone in person is so fucking cool. And then you never know if there is going to be that pretentiousness from all these people that are in those venues. But so far, everyone has proven the opposite.
This is a really good group. This is a really good group. Really enjoying it.
Super friendly. Everyone's super supportive. Everyone's here to have a good time. And I haven't seen anyone get too drunk yet.
Yeah.
I mean, all we did was eat ice cream on the beach yesterday, right?
That's it. We went home after that.
Do you guys do hiring at your venues?
Yes.
Is there any red flags when people are interviewing that you look out for?
Tons of things.
I don't know. I like having worked in a couple of different markets in a variety of different positions that have required hiring, whether it's for individual venue, whether it's for group wide, or whether it's now for a hotel. I think the old adage is like you can teach skills, you can train, and you can really develop. People have just got to be like genuine and genuinely nice as a straight green flag. Then I might have a slight sort of like problem trying to save people and like trying to make the best out of like everybody that's in front as well. So some of those red flags might get ignored occasionally. But I really do believe like it depends on how you work and what the training is after that. Because if people believe in your ethos and you can really get them to buy in, but not for the wrong reasons, then you can probably get through a lot of it. But there are some people that shouldn't work hospitality. And I think those people usually not as well. That's the other part. Sorry, you were saying?
No, I mean, I totally agree. I think the biggest thing is, those skills you can teach, but it's about passion. I mean, I'll speak specifically about bartenders, but I hire the rest of the crew as well. Because like if you're not passionate about learning, the foundations and the fundamentals of bartending and going through all the work to like learn classics and study history of like spirits, et cetera, and then to our same point before, like, when you're interviewing somebody, like, why do you want to be a bartender? And they're like, because it looks so cool. I see it on Instagram. Everybody's traveling. Like, you're done. Like, that's not the reason why you should be joining this industry, because this industry is something that I've worked in my whole life, and I'm super passionate about, even mentoring and growing the next generation of bartenders, which every time I say it makes me feel older, but I guess it's to the point where it's the fact, because I barely bartend anymore. And my job is to really, put the systems in place to teach everybody and grow them. So if they don't have that passion to actually want to put in that work, then there's nothing I can do for them. And, I think that like those red flags immediately are always like, people are like, well, I'm an actor. I shouldn't say that. I hire actors too. But like the reason to do it is because like you do truly love the work that we're in, the industry of giving of service.
You need to love it.
You do, because it takes a lot out of you. But if you don't find gratification in like that, to be able to give something back to people, because that's the most gratifying part of what I do, at least personally, when you actually can make somebody walk out happier than they walked in, like that's the objective.
Yeah.
And that's hospitality.
Yeah. Key thing is you have to like people, right?
Not always.
Not everyone.
There are lots that don't.
No, but I think if you work in hospitality, you can't. You have to like people.
Of course.
That is the
Or
job.
either you need to pretend that you like them.
You can pretend really well. What does the onboarding look like? So when a staff member starts at any of your venues, do they go through a specific onboarding?
I mean, we always start like with I think the best thing for us is like we only take the juniors on the junior position, and we teach them from the beginning.
Cool.
This is like and I think this is the biggest red flag is the laziness. If somebody, I mean, you put it in the barback not to chill out in the barback, but just doing that one extra step, seeing that they are willing to do something more, that they want to learn, they are making the effort, and somebody like evolves much quicker. But I think that's laziness. It's like big no go.
Yeah,
and it's like, but we always start from the very beginning. You'd have to start at the barback at least a month. I mean, I was doing it for 3 years, so.
So you'll be the best bartender out there if you do the barback for 3 years. You know what everybody needs.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And that was that was actually my favorite position, because you're just there and you have the feeling that you're really important, you're holding their backs, and that everything will be going smoothly, I would say.
I mean, to the same point, a red flag is somebody that's not interested in actually starting from the bottom and learning the systems from the bottom. Like, we don't hire people like, oh, I have the bar back, but I've been bartending for 5 years. I'm like, oh, okay, 5 years.
Good for you.
I mean, that's usually the thing now. And they're like, I have to bar back. I have to start from the beginning. Like, yeah. And, the red flag right there is people that don't want to actually go through those ranks again and learn and actually gain the trust of the team. I think this is the biggest thing.
Anything else you guys do onboarding wise to make sure that you have the right?
I'm part of a very large company, and like hotels in general. So we have a lot of systems in place for that anyway. And it comes from corporate induction, and then venue specific, and then also obviously dress and everything else. So ours is quite regimented per se. And if we speak specifically about Manhattan, we've got a team like a 4 or 5 that have been there for quite a long time that really understand not just Manhattan but the whole hotel. So the ladies that are running that side of things have got this beautiful system where they really kind of are organized and setting up. Coming into a hotel for the first time, and definitely at like a director level where I'm across multiple outlets across the property, it was my first time going through a corporate induction and really kind of like setting that up. I can imagine if you've done like 4 or 5 different hotels, you've had to do this like a few times. That'd be really, I thought it was awesome. I've never sat in something like that and just been like, here is brand day 1, here is property day 2, and here is luxury hospitality day 3, and really breaking it down like that. I think that would like, I don't know if I learned quite organically through how to do on board and do things through different bars or running or working in or being trained in. But going through that now, I'm like, I've learned a lot in 3 days, even about procedure, like how to set it up. And like the brand stuff, I've got to learn that because I've never done it before, but how to really address and how to set up, like people forget that PowerPoint exists. It's a super, super useful tool, like for getting, like particularly when you've got 40 people starting on a day or anything like that. So but specifically, I think we're taking a real hard look at like how we're doing things and just trying to perpetual incrementalization is what we used to say at Cantina, just trying to be that little bit better every day, ratchet up.
I have some quick fire questions for you guys. So, grazie.
I can't read my handwriting.
Thank you, chef. No, it's right. We got little whiteboards for you.
Oh, nice.
Okay, go.
Yes.
Go. Who needs a pen? One for you. You guys have pens? Yeah. I have little cloths.
Yes.
I came prepared, guys.
The cutest, daintiest little thing in the world.
From a board game. All right. So, quick fire question. The reason that I have whiteboards is so you don't talk about it before you give me your answer.
Okay.
Trend that you want to see more of. Can be one word, can be more than one word. It's you. Trend.
But
Something.
I still can't read my handwriting.
I can't read that either.
Okay. All right. What have we got? Show me.
Well, I say this all the time, but the only trend I want to see is just people balancing drink.
Yeah,
I think that's the moment we're at right now. It's just everybody's like doing all these crazy things, and it's awesome to see all this creativity. But like, get to the point where you make that, but learn how to balance a cocktail. And I only want to see this trend move forward in the next years. But I think it's important to really focus on the balancing of cocktails.
Totally. Cool.
Fresh products.
I thought it was a fish.
I thought it said fish too. Fish
products.
buckets.
It's
What
a
we
Kiwi
need
accent.
more of.
Yeah, fresh product. Like I really like seasonal produce. It definitely happens more and more. But I don't necessarily mean it as a That's all we do. But like using things that are around and touch and base, it definitely happens in kitchens a lot more. But I like it for bars as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, and
I love looking people showing off.
bring it back. Bring back the
back.
flair.
I adore people who like. I mean, you don't have to do like a real flair or something like that, but I love to see small working flair, like sticking with the spoon or playing with the jiggers. I love that.
Yeah, I love working with
All right. Well, use your little light.
It was much more effective than I thought it was going to be.
Trend you want to see less of.
Yeah, I knew you were asking. I have no idea.
I like to say this.
Be controversial. Come on, guys. Give me your honest opinion.
I'm going to say it, but there's some people that do it really well. But I think people that don't do it well should not do it.
Yeah.
All right. What have we got? Shit lighting.
Shit lighting. Shit lighting. It pisses me off.
But it's like the minimalism.
Yeah. I'm with you on that, actually.
Food inspired cocktails. I think yeah.
Do you have something in mind when you say food inspired cocktails?
Do I have? Yeah. I mean, like a cocktail that tastes like tortellini. I don't know, like things like that. Like, I think like there's like menus that are really trying to like essentially convert like a dish into a cocktail. And I think a lot of people don't know how to execute that properly. And I see it happening in a lot of places.
Who executes it well that you know of?
I think Double Chicken Please is doing a really great job in doing that, especially how they've split their menu between like the appetizer and like dessert and all these things. But you see it in a lot of other bars, and they're like trying to like literally replicate a specific dish, and like their whole menu like looks like a food menu. And I don't know, I haven't had a proper like spot that I've seen and tasted that.
There are certain drinks around. Elephant Room in Singapore does a Rassam drink that's sick.
Yeah.
It's really good and it's really well balanced. Rassam drink. And it's just like this, it's inspired, the whole bar is inspired by Little India and the culture there from Singapore. And I think that drink's mad. But I definitely have had drinks in other venues where I'm just like, I'm with you. Like it's got to land properly, otherwise. Yeah. But I think that's also, that should happen with a daiquiri as well.
It's not like the minimalism, it's the minimalism. When people do it and they don't know why do it, they do it just because it's trendy and they clarify everything, and it's just like, why?
Yeah. I'm with you. And also there's minimalism done really well. Yeah. But sometimes it's just kind of boring.
Yes, it's just like a plain, like your drink looks like a glass of water with no garnish, and it's cool because it's minimalism, but you clarify like, I don't know, everything just because it's cool and you want it to be clear.
Okay, guilty pleasure drink.
A mudslide.
Great. Jack and Coke.
That is quite guilty.
that is a true guilty pleasure. Also, and this maybe won't land for you guys. Canadian Club.
Yeah.
Canadian Club and Dry on tap. It's already like pre-carbonated and set up. They do it like
a highball machine.
Yeah. Like this was like all way like pubs back in the day. It was sensational. Also sweet as hell.
Espresso martini.
Espresso martini.
Fuck yeah.
There you go.
When you're doing it in the night, especially.
Yeah. A venue everyone needs to visit once. Can't be your own, obviously.
Fair enough. One letter.
I want to be sure I spell it right.
You got nothing? Come on. You must love somewhere.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, there we go. I love this spot, and I think everybody should go.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Everybody, and while we're here, I really wanted to go down to Melbourne.
Yeah, we went a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic.
It's so good.
Yeah, so good. The drinks were great.
Incredibly balanced
Service was great. Yeah, really well
Like I think
balanced,
they hit up
Yeah.
good spot too.
Cantina, okay.
I mean, I don't work there anymore, but
Nice.
it's still.
Except for maybe Serbia, I was.
All repping here.
Yeah.
I love it. Repping Australia.
I was hearing about this bar like since they opened. I was following them, and I was just like, I hope that I will get there once.
Yeah.
And I had a guest
And you're
days
gonna say,
ago.
yeah.
That's sick. That's mad.
Cool. And then last question, someone who you think deserves more spotlight in the industry, somebody who you think is really like doing cool stuff in hospitality.
I haven't really been paying attention recently.
Yeah.
It might be somebody that you know, somebody that you work with even.
You right here,
person?
sitting across from us. You're crushing it.
Barbacks.
Somebody else.
Yes. Amen. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think there's I think a lot of the small bars that aren't necessarily on everybody's radar.
Yeah.
And like, instead of being somebody specific, I think it's more like some of the local bars that just like put a little bit more effort in and do the neighborhood joints that are really good. I think that we should be celebrating those as much as possible, even in our own cities. Like, it doesn't have to be international.
I think we fixate too much on the 50 best list. And I think that's like, and I always look at that list when I go out to a new city. Like, those are kind of the reference points. But to your point, it's like maybe going out with a local and finding like, what are the cool spots that people like to go to that maybe aren't like the busiest and like just hyped, but just like a great bar. Yeah, for sure.
And then the final question that I ask everybody is, if you are to leave a legacy in hospitality, what is the legacy that you personally would like to leave in the industry?
Well,
Big question.
Big question.
Authenticity.
Okay.
Authenticity about you, about your product, about your team, and about how you're treating people.
Yeah,
for sure. That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
I got off easy there.
That was good. No, that was a good one. I mean, I could really kind of piggyback off of that one too. And I think what's like most important for me, and I mentioned it earlier, is just like providing the resources and education and, like the spotlight for people that are really, truly passionate about what we're doing in this industry, because I really don't want to see our industry change. I mean, I'm such a I guess I'm like old school in that way, but like, I think it's really important to make sure that we, know and understand where we came from in this craft and still respect it in that way. And to provide, resources of mentorship to people. Like, that's really my goal in what I do.
Yeah. I'm going to go with keep pushing and don't give up. It's just like make that extra step and be willing to go for more. Don't be afraid of anything. Just keep pushing.
Okay, cool. Is there anything that we haven't talked about today that you guys would have liked to talk about?
I think word of advice for everybody is drink water.
Yeah.
Great advice. Yeah. Take a nap.
Take a nap.
It's
nice to see you awake.
I like to call myself a nap ambassador, because this is the thing that I used to. It was always when I started traveling, like, I like to sleep a lot.
Yeah.
And I think the sleep is a very precious thing. So I take a nap every time I can, everywhere I can. And
everywhere. I love it.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Order up.
Thank you so much for listening. Next week, I am coming back with another all-star hospitality cast, a huge roundtable. I was not nervous at all. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Stay tuned next week and follow to make sure that you don't miss out. Thanks for listening.